everyone, and welcome to the Taurus Weekly Illumination Reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and Meaning-Based Spiritual Coaching Services. I am Lauren. Hi and welcome. So this is a slightly different reading than what I've done previously because I am a new mother and I'm trying to change my schedule a little bit to accommodate more readings, but with a slightly condensed format. So I will also be still completing the spiritual purpose connection reading this week or this month for all signs, which is more of a comprehensive reading than the one that I'm going to be doing now. But this reading here is meant to engage the Triad of Engagement, which is based on the 3 core principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation. And I demonstrate how when we engage with these principles, we can actually bring awareness to our internal, unique, authentic selves and how that connects to our external spiritual purpose. And this is where we get a chance to start to feel in flow, start to see our purpose out in the greater everything, where we get a chance to see how we can be of service to the greater collective experience while emotionally fulfilling ourselves at the same time. So this reading is really meant to help illuminate something about your unique internal authentic self this week that needs a little attention so that you can continue to connect effortlessly with your spiritual purpose. All right, Taurus. So let's get right into the reading. So the first card I'm going to pull here is from the Power of Surrender deck, and it is going to help us engage with the principle of curiosity. And why is engaging with curiosity so important? Because it allows us to break past the barriers of negative thinking, of the programming that we get kind of stuck into as we move from a childhood into adulthood, where we lose that sense of awe and wonder and excitement around the mysteries of what we don't know in our external environment, as well as what we don't know yet to discover about ourselves. So we are stepping into that place of a childlike sense of, what do I not know? What am I prepared to discover this week? And specifically about myself and my spiritual purpose. So let's see. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a question around the message on the card. And this question is to help bring what is a very general reading here into a very individualized reading for yourself, because the question is meant for you to ask it of yourself throughout the week and for you to personally answer it by the end of the week. So again, this is a question only you can answer. All right, let's see here, Taurus. You guys are very quiet. Let's see if I can't pull, if nothing wants to pop out, I will just cut the deck and select one. Let's see here. What does Taurus need to know about themselves this week? What does Taurus need to know about themselves? Oh, there we go. Ooh, okay. So we have surrender frustration. And it says, frustration doesn't open any doors. The key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly. Surrender frustration. Now, I am a Taurus sun sign. I also have my Mars placement in Taurus, so I really understand the Taurus energy. And I kind of half myself feel like I've lived the majority of my life in a state of frustration. And why is that? For me personally, it's because I feel like I am trying to cram as much as I can into my life experience. And I want to move quickly from one thing to the next. And it can get frustrating when I personally have things that come up that prevent me from moving as fast as I want, or when something prevents me from experiencing something as quickly or on my own schedule as I want. And I have a feeling, because this kind of came up for me, I have a feeling this is coming up for a lot of you. out there, that there's this element of something not working, or the timing being off slightly. Timing being off, and something coming into the mix. And this is really what I'm getting strongly right now. Something coming into the mix that's changing things up for you. And this might have not just be happening this week. This could have happened previously. It could be coming into the picture in the week to come. And this is about kind of getting us prepared for that. But there is this element here of a little bit of when we talk about, or when I talk about the external environment versus our internal environment. The external environment is more of what I like to call the seat of destiny. This is where things are beyond our control. It's where change comes in. This is where unexpected events and unexpected people and just the unknown happens. Now, when we come to our internal environment, this is the seat of our control, because we get a chance to be able to control our actions. We get a chance to control our reactions, to control our perspective and our perceptions of the external environment. So this is our seat of free will. And when we get to engage free will with destiny, that's when we feel in flow and aligned with our spiritual purpose, because we are rising to the occasion almost in a hero-like manner to be able to engage with the changes and the unknown elements in our external environment, which are coming in. It's a predestined, if you believe that, I do, that there's a predestined element to our external environment. But where the wild card is whether or not we choose to step up and engage with that. So there is this element here, Taurus, that this week there is something in your external environment that has come in that's shaking things up a little bit, or that's beyond your control. And again, this could have come into the picture a while previously, or it could be coming to the picture soon. But there is this quality of wanting to get things done, wanting to maybe complete a project or to focus on something specifically, and that whatever this new change is that's come in, that is again beyond your control because it's external to you, that is creating this element of frustration. Now, I like here that this says in the card, the key to resolving a dilemma or dissolving a block, which is the frustration, is to take a breath, center yourself, and regroup so you may approach the situation more calmly. And what I have discovered myself is that when I start to feel that element of frustration, and I start to feel almost a little out of control to the point where then I try to control, maybe too much, that's when I realize I have to take a step back, and I do actually use time then at that point to set aside for myself to meditate or to connect with spirit, and to is kind of why I love this deck is I do surrender. I surrender to that feeling of frustration, and I kind of throw my hands up and say, okay, what is it, spirit, that I really need to release right now? I need to focus on, because clearly I shouldn't feel in this state of frustration. So something is off. What do I need to kind of give over to spirit and take off my plate and just kind of relax into what's happening? Because when we try to fight too much with what's going on in our external environment, that is where we actually are pushing against destiny. That's where we're pushing against our path. When we talk, I hear a lot of people talk about, I want to know if I'm on the right path. Well, if you're feeling frustrated or you're feeling disconnected, it means that you're not engaging with your external environment in a way that is allowing you to see your path. I don't believe that we are ever not on our paths. We each are born on the path that it is meant for us to experience. But it's how far along we go down that path that's up to our free will. So there's this quality here, Taurus, of there's something that has come into your reality, something from the external that is meant to actually bring you further on down your path and to open up something wonderful for you. But it was probably unexpected. and it's probably changing something up in your life. Now, I can look at this for myself as the child I just gave birth to a few months ago. And that did change my life in ways that I was expecting and not expecting. And yes, there have been elements of frustration because of having to alter and find and change a routine that and I'm sure a lot of you Tauruses understand this, that we are a fixed sign and we like our set routines. We like to do things in a specific way. And when something like a child comes into your life, that you're on their schedule at that point. So for me, that's something I had to lean into and work with and realize that this is part of my destiny. This is something that has come into my experience and I need to work with it, not against it. Not to say that any of you guys are working against your own children if you have them, but that's just an example. So this could be that something has changed at work for you, that perhaps you are on a new team and suddenly you have more responsibilities, or you get a piece of news in your home life that changes the dynamic, something along those lines. And that this is creating this element of frustration. So what I would build the question in for you this week to bring awareness to this message for you is what has changed in your external environment that's causing this element of frustration, that's causing you to feel like your routine is being threatened with change, or that you feel that it's somehow impeding and taking away your ability to complete a project, or that it's taking away time that you had previously wanted to put towards something else, and to highlight what that is for yourself. Because when you start to look at that area, that's really what Spirit is trying to focus you on this week, to say, stop resisting it and lean into it. Because there's something magical about what you don't know yet about engagement, what you don't know yet about yourself, that will be uncovered through engaging and surrendering to this change. Okay, so now I'm going to pull an animal oracle card to engage us with the concept of courage. And courage is where we move into the seat of our personal power. This is where we work with courage to use courage to stay in conscious awareness of ourselves as we make decisions and decide to take action throughout the day. And what does this look like? This looks like being aware that every single decision you make throughout the day, no matter how small, should be made in awareness of yourself. Meaning that you should be aware that if you are saying yes to getting drinks after work, that feels right to you, that's not going to take away from something else that means more to you. Or that if you are making the decision to whatever it is, fill in the blank. There's all these little decisions about what we eat throughout the day, where we choose to spend our time, how long we maybe spend watching Netflix versus working out versus, calling up our mom on the phone, those kinds of things. All these little decisions are what allow us to stay engaged with life as long as we keep ourselves in mind as we make these decisions. And where the courage comes in is to have the courage to act on our own behalf, to make decisions that sometimes can be difficult, because we are realizing that we have to stand within our own power. Meaning, if there's a choice to be made that is more in alignment with you, that may not be the easier choice to make. This is when we might have to say no to a work commitment, or admit to significant others. Sorry guys, that's too many cards here. Let's get a few less. Admit to someone in your life that you need help because of something, maybe there's too many tasks on your plate. There's all these ways that we can become disengaged with basically realizing that the seat of control in our lives is through the actions that we take and the ones we decide to take. Meaning we can have all the crazy, fun, amazing things happening in our external environment, but if we choose not to engage with them, or not to engage with them from a place of awareness of what's in alignment with ourselves, that's when we start to become so disengaged with life that we are not feeling it. We are just kind of moving through it blindly, just going through emotions, instead of bringing it back to ourselves and truly bringing ourselves, living ourselves into life. All right, so Taurus, let's see here. What do you need to know about where you need to take action from a place of courage this week? What does Taurus need to know? Oh my gosh, you guys keep getting these giant chunks of cards. You know what? I'm going to take just the top card here that came out, because it's really calling to me. So it says number 22, Dragonfly Spirit. And it says, truth transcends illusion. This is a really powerful message. The number 22 is a beautiful number in numerology. It's the number of the spiritual builder. It encompasses the number 4 because it reduces to the number 4, which is the number of foundation building and a strong work ethic. But it combines that with 2 number 2s, which is about working in harmonious connection with others. So there's a strong element of, again, foundation building between working with and for others. And when you think about truth transcends illusion, sometimes we can get to this place where we have wanted something for so long. We've put maybe a lot of effort towards something, or we've just been really focused on some aspect of our life, whether it's work, creative project, family, it can, you name it, a hobby. And we can start to move into a place of maybe what had originally started out as a healthy kind of fantasy around using your imagination to where whatever you were working towards would become. It can then slip into a place of illusion where we maybe are no longer actively engaged with reflecting on the consequences of our actions, and we are not realizing that something is maybe not working and not working for us. That maybe what had once started as a fun creative project is now turning into something that's stressing you out because something in your external environment has changed and you no longer have time to do that. And maybe you felt you committed to something, so like a true Taurus, you're going to stay true to it and you're going to keep doing it, but it just doesn't feel right now. Instead, it's actually creating frustration. It's stressing you out. But there's this illusion of, but I saw what it could be. I saw the potential. When I first started, it was with this expectation. And what we have to realize is that sometimes we have to step back to that place of where I was kind of describing my own process to you here. Where when I start to feel that way, it's about reconnecting, quieting ourselves, coming back to who we are, and really tapping into that element of our direct connection to spirit, and being able to really tap into, when I think about the spiritual building component of the number 22, tapping into, and even, the dragonfly spirit, when you look at that picture, it's a dragonfly, it looks like it has a crown on there. And there's this quality with the blue coming through, and the purple as well, and the purple with this, that there's this element of connecting to your third eye and your crown chakra, and even to your throat chakra, that there's this element here of connecting, of connecting at a higher level and allowing spirit to come down through you so that you can actually start to engage with your throat chakra. So Taurus, your sign actually rules the throat. And there's this quality here of kind of bringing that down to allow yourself to speak the truth to yourself, to realize through your connection to spirit of the truth around what is happening in your life and what is kind of meant for you to deal with versus what is meant for you to release and surrender. Okay, sorry, I had to stop the video because my daughter was fussing in the next room. So, thank you for being patient. So, talking about truth versus illusion. So, again, we can step into the place where imagination and fantasy and hope for the future can actually transform into illusion. And this is where sometimes we need to come back and center ourselves to get to the truth of the matter, to be able to connect with spirit, to be able to allow us to not only see the truth, but be able to accept the truth to ourselves to where we can actually speak it back to ourselves. It helps sometimes to verbalize. I've noticed this myself personally, and I'm not sure if this is because Taurus rules the throat or just in general, sometimes stating something out loud, it's kind of like this aha moment of, oh yeah, this is actually what I'm dealing with. When we get stuck in our heads, there's all kinds of things that can come in, but when we bring it down here and we actually speak it, there is power behind words. And so there's almost this element here of allowing your connection to spirit to come in, to stop when we are so pushing against stuff in our external environment, especially change. That is us pushing spirit away. And so there's this component here this week of allowing spirit to come down through your crown, third eye chakras, and being able to come out down into your throat and to allow yourself to speak the truth, to speak the truth of your situation, to speak the truth of what has been frustrating you. And then to take a courageous action to what I feel this week. It's sometimes, we have to take courageous action to move ourselves forward, to make something happen. This week I feel like it's the opposite. There's this component here of taking a step back, speaking the truth, and then having the courage to sit and accept. And sometimes acceptance can be the most difficult, to have to surrender to a change in your life that is beyond your control in one aspect, but within your control to change and adapt as to how you perceive that change, as to how you react to it. That's where the seat of control comes from. And sometimes simply just accepting what is a courageous act to say, okay, this is the change. It's not going anywhere. And this is actually part of my spiritual purpose. This is what Spirit is wanting and asking me to engage with, asking me to step into something that has to do with what I'm actively trying to push away. And it's probably trying to steer me away from something I've been so focused on. Because that other thing that I've been focused on, either it's not the right time for it, or this is more important and this is what's going to keep me more in line with my spiritual purpose of feeling that I'm on my path, being engaged with it, as well as furthering myself down that path. There's an element here of, so one of the things that I utilize in my coaching practice is the tenets of logotherapy. And logotherapy is a specific type of, I call it psychoanalysis, or those who understand logotherapy are familiar with it, they can deem it as psychoanalysis. But I look at it more as just a way to engage with life in the understanding and acceptance that all life includes suffering, but it's the meaning that we give to moments of suffering that allow us to engage and blossom and feel in flow. And there's this quality, I think, with the surrender frustration, that there's this element of almost like suffering, of like, I've been trying so hard at something and now things are changing and it's kind of almost like chaotic, and it's like, okay, yeah, that we all go through those moments. But now there's this quality here of attributing meaning to rising up to the acceptance and surrender to what has changed, and to give meaning to your decision to actively accept and engage with this change. And that's what's going to give yourself meaning in this moment. It's going to allow you to engage with what's happened with the change so that you can fully kind of live into it. Additionally, in logotherapy, so the man who started logotherapy, his name is Viktor E. Frankl. And he is somebody who not only started logotherapy, he was also a neurosurgeon and a psychiatrist in his own right, but he went through many trials and tribulations, including surviving the Nazi concentration camps during World War II. And one of the things he really kind of gelled during that time before he survived and was able to come back into his regular life was that if people can find meaning in the suffering, they can survive almost anything. And so that's really what life boils down to for each individual person, is finding meaning, and also understanding that each one of us has our own unique, singular potentiality to fulfill an experience in this lifetime. And it was his belief in that's what got him through some of the worst times in the concentration camps, to be able to survive and come out the stronger person and the, I think, really inspirational person that he then became in his later life. And there's this quality here of stepping into that for yourself, that things might not have, your life might not be taking the turn that you had expected maybe in previous versions of yourself when you were younger, or even just down to a couple of years ago, or even down to a month ago. But the changes that are coming forward are meant for you to realize your unique, singular potentiality in this lifetime. That is the ultimate goal of us furthering ourselves down the path, is to realize all those potentials that lie within us and that are needed to be expressed. And I really think this week, with kind of leaning in and accepting and slowing down and getting back to who you are, speaking the truth of your current situation now, and also what resonates as your truth, as to the meaning that you can assign to what you're choosing to engage with in your external environment, that's really going to be the foundation. That's going to give you the courage to build a new foundation based on your connection and your faith in spirit. Because that's really what courage boils down to. Where curiosity boils down to awe and wonder and tapping into that part of life again. Courage boils down to us tapping into faith. Faith that we are all destined for something amazing, that we are all destined to be of service to the greater collective experience, and that we have faith that the more we act and take courageous action in alignment with ourselves, that the more these potentialities and this beautiful element of who we are and who we are becoming will be fulfilled. And so there's this faith in that, in our divine purpose. Okay, so last but not least, we're going to pull a card here for the principle of contemplation. Contemplation is where we get to reflect on the consequences of our actions so that we can self-adjust, so that we can go back and be curious again. We start the cycle over once we start to contemplate, where we get a chance to be curious about what happened. And then we get a chance to self-adjust. Ooh, 3 cards come out. I'll take those. And we get to self-adjust with the next courageous actions we choose to take. And this is where we get to continue to self-educate through direct experience, through direct engagement with our external environment. We get to see, okay, I did this, and this is what happened. And now either I need to adjust to continue this because it was a great reaction or a great consequence, or I need to adjust in the other way, that I didn't get the best consequence or response or reaction, and now I need to adjust I need to be curious as to how I can then change my actions to change the consequences. And that's how we learn. That's how we learn through our actions. Okay, so we have 3 cards that came out. We have Thinker, number 44, which is beautiful and very much in alignment with this card. It's kind of like the next step. Number 44 is an angelic number. It's like angelic guidance, tapping into the angelic realm. So we have Thinker. We have Poised, number 48, breaking down to 12 and then breaking down further into the number 3, which I always see as connection to divinity. And then we have Breathe, number 29, breaking down to an 11, which is another master number, which has to do about kind of the gateway, the portal between this world and, I always look at it as not even just this world and spirit, but this world and the potential that life holds for us seen through the eyes of spirit. So beautiful, beautiful. The numerology is beautiful here, but there's also this element here of you're poised for something. Now, the breath, this card to me always signifies coming back to self and connecting with spirit. That there's this quality here with that number breaking down to the number 11 of coming back to be shown again what are the possibilities seen through the eyes of spirit of your current experience. Poised is all about that divine design, that there is something coming in and you are ready to take full advantage of it. There is not only a change, but a change that's going to allow you to step into another version of yourself or another chapter in your life, because that's what this Poised card is all about, that you're poised to take flight and to take full advantage of the abundance that's coming in. And then we have Thinker. And there's this quality here with the Thinker that, is kind of coming in with this card here, is to connect with that angelic realm, to connect with divine spirit, and to allow that to come in, again, through your crown chakra, through here, to be then processed through here, so that you can speak your truth. You can speak out loud what is coming in and make it so. Cement it, bring it into your physical reality. I know this is a little esoteric, maybe a little woo-woo for some of you, but that's really what I'm getting here, is that there's this element of a deep connection with spirit this week, and that it's going to all come from you surrendering frustration, coming back to your center, becoming quiet, allowing you to accept whatever is coming in to create this point of frustration, and to realize and trust and have faith that this is part of your truth, that this is going to further you down the path of your spiritual purpose, and that there's a lot that's coming your way, that there's something new and exciting that's going to open up through you stepping into this place of truth, awareness, taking the blinders off, moving away from the illusion, and trusting in the divine plan, because this is your jumping off point. All right, Taurus, powerful message. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you get a chance to check out your spiritual purpose connection reading later on in the month. Again, that's a little bit longer and more comprehensive. And if it's anything to do or anything like this message, it's going to be quite eye-opening, I have a feeling. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And if you'd like to book a personal tarot reading or a one-on-one coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. Obviously, with great gratitude and appreciation, I am so grateful for all of the likes and subscribes. And obviously, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, I don't want you to. Being able to have a platform to speak my truth and to share what I would like to share is just enough for me. So thank you for allowing me to do that and for watching this video. Bye, Taurus.